Hi, my name is Fernanda with 365 Cannabis, and I'm one of our finance consultants. In this video, I'll be giving a brief tutorial on how to create a vendor payment. Please keep in mind that my screen may look a little different at times, as personalization may vary by user and release. You can use the payment journals in order to issue payments for checks, ACH, EFTs, or record manual payments. If you go to Cash Management and then Payment Journals. Here you'll find a selection of pre-populated journals for different types of bank payments, like checks, cash, manual, and other payments. You could have only one batch, but we recommend that you have more than one batch based on the type of payment. When you look at payment journals, you'll see that you can set up a balancing account. This is useful when you are using suggest vendor payments, so the bank account we are making the payment from is automatically populated. You can go to Edit List, and then let's say that for my check payments, I want to select my bank account. When opening a batch, and I'm gonna use the check one, first, you're going to see the posting date and document date, which will match our current work date, as well as the document type, which is payment, and the document number. This document number is a placeholder until we finalize the payment. By issuing checks or payments, you first need to run Suggest Vendor Payments, which can be found under Prepare. The first field in here is the last payment date. This will be the last due date in the system that you want to make the payments as of. For example, if you'd like to make the payments due as of the July 4th, you could select the date from here. Or if you'd like to make payments in advance and pay everything due before July 10th, you can simply update the date as well. Next, you are going to enable the field Skip Exported Payment and check other journal batches. This will ensure that you are not duplicating any payment exports if a payment exists in another journal. You can also summarize per vendor, which will allow us to make one check payment for multiple invoices or credit memos. Then we can choose our posting date. I'm going to leave as of today. And this will be the date that is printed on the check and when it posts to the general ledger. We can leave the starting document number as it is and also new document per line. If we keep scrolling down, we have the balancing account type. In this case, will be bank account, and then from the drop down or from the three dots, you can select which bank account you are going to make the payment from. This will have to match the bank that we select in the payment journal. Then we have the bank payment type. If you click on the drop-down, you'll see a few options. We can use computer check or manual check. Manual check is used when you don't need to physically print the check. You are only recording the payment. Could be a wire transfer or a direct debit. I'm going to choose computer check, because I'm going to print orders from checks from the system. If you keep scrolling down, we have the filtering options. We can filter entries to the vendor number, payment method, or any other filter. Once you have suggested all your payments, you can just click OK. Then you can begin to reviewing your payment journal. Here we have the posting date, which was the date that we set in Suggest Vendor Payments, as well as the document date. We have the payment types with the suggested vendor document numbers as well. Next, we are going to see our vendor number and the vendor name. The payment method code, which is this column in here, is populated from the vendor card. There is no issue If this field is blank, as we have in these two fields right here, it's nice to have so we can use it for filtering. You also have the amounts, the balancing account type, which is bank account, the balancing account number that we selected before, and the bank payment type. Another column that we can check if there's any applications or not. And we can also notice that we have the computer check right here, the bank payment type. If we do not choose computer check on suggest vendor payments, this would be populated as blank and will not allow you to print a check from the system. You also notice that we have this check printed box, which will be checked off once the check is printed. If you'd like to view any applications, you can select the line. I'm going to select this first one with a $10 amount, and then go to Actions, Functions, and Apply Entries. This will show you which invoice or credit memos are being applied on this payment line. Here you notice that I have one invoice of $10. Let's say that, for example, I do not want to pay all these vendors. I can select the lines and then delete the ones that I want to keep or I want to delete from my payment journal. And then go to Manage and Delete. Keep in mind, this won't delete the payments from the system. I'm just deleting them from the payment journal. Next time I run suggest vendor payments again, the invoice with the lines will be there. We can then go ahead and begin to print the checks by going to Check and then Print Check. When selecting the print check, it will open up some options. You can choose the bank account. And first, you have to confirm if this is the correct bank account that we selected before, as well as the last check number. This will be populated from the information that we have in the bank card. Once you reviewed all these fields, you can go ahead and print or send it to PDF. Here is just an example of how the check template looks like. If I scroll to the right, I'm going to see that my check printed column is now checked off. If, let's say, we printed checks in error, you can always void the checks from the payment journal. You can choose to void a single check or all checks in the batch. Here I'm going to select Void All Checks. This will clear the check printed field and allow us to reprint. Let's say I made a mistake and now I want to delete the second line. I don't need that one anymore. I can just select the line and then go to Manage and Delete. Once the check has been reviewed again, we can then go ahead and post the check in the system. And here I have only one check as selected. From here, we can either post or post and print to keep a copy of the register. I'm going to select Post. To review the bank ledger entries, you can go to Check Ledger. And this will show you all the checks printed, voided, posted, or financially void in the system. Here you can see the check that we just posted as well as the selection of checks prior that we voided while in the batch. Posted checks will be any printed and posted checks in the system, whereas void checks will be the checks that have been voided prior posting. If any checks are still dated after the payment journals have been posted, we can go ahead and void them by using this check ledger entry and something that we called a financial void. To void a payment, it must be sitting under the posted status, like this first entry. In order to do so, you can select in the payment line and then go to Process and select Void Check. This cannot be undone, so please be certain that when you are voiding the right payment. You can go ahead and select the date if you need to change the void date. Let's say that now you're entering a future period and you cannot void it in the same period that the check was issued. If that's the case, you can just select the new date or leave as it is. We will also select Unapply and Void Check, which will unapply the payment from any invoice and credit memos and allow them to be paid and used again. If you select Void Check only, it will not unapply the payments and will simply just put a credit against the vendor's account. Always choose Unapplied and Void. Now you notice that the system will financially void the check. The difference here between avoided and financially voided is that voided payments are done while they are still in the payment journal, after we've issued the check, but before they are posted. Financially void payments are voided from the check ledger entries after the payment journal has been posted. This gives us a good audit trail for all payments that are either voided, posted, or financially voided. As mentioned, you can always also use the payment journal in order to make payments that aren't exported from the system, such wires, bank drafts, or other manual payments. Now let's change and select another batch. I'm going to select bank payments. We can go over the same process, so we go to Prepare and Suggest Vendor Payments. But instead of selecting Computer Check, I'm going to select Manual Check. If I scroll over, you notice that the payment method type is now Manual Check. These lines will be the same as they were in the previous journals, except for this bank payment type. Once you finalize the payment, then simply you can go ahead and post your payment.